sir. My name is Rahul.
My name is Ishita.
Today, we're here for our first interview as part of our Group 3 CAST project, Looking Ahead. The project aims to understand the challenges in various careers and strategies used by professionals in handling the pandemic situation.
Today we're looking ahead with the Deputy Commissioner of Greater Chennai Corporation City, Mr. Megnath Reddy.
Mr. Megnath Reddy joined as Deputy Commissioner at Greater Chennai City Corporation in April 2020. His vital role in COVID management has been greatly acknowledged and appreciated by the media, the Chennai residents, and all the beneficiaries. He is also the Managing Director of Chennai Smart City Limited that works with the smart development projects in Chennai.
We're incredibly excited and curious to meet and interview the vibrant IAS official, Mr. Megnath Reddy, directly in his office today. So without further ado, we'll begin with our interview. Rahul, would you like to ask the first question?
The first thing we would like to ask you is how does it feel to be acknowledged as a frontline hero in the eyes of many during these desperate times where people are even afraid to step out of their homes?
Frontline hero is a big thing to say. I would call ourselves, including myself, entire people here at GCC as frontline warriors, more than a hero. There are many heroes. It's exciting, it's thrilling, the journey over the last 1 year particularly, since I joined here in April 2020. I joined directly, I was parachuted into this COVID duty. We faced a lot of, things. COVID was not just, about a disease or a pandemic. There were many dimensions to it. From human suffering angle, like migrants and its crisis, to reaching out to people who are positive, who are at their homes, to reach out to them for basic needs and helps, and to treatment. So it's a multi way, multi approach that we had adopted. When we look back at at the entire exercise that we did, we look back with satisfaction and pride, particularly the way our men, our women, our staff have risen up to the occasion. Right from commissioner to the last man or woman in the line, they have done a terrific job. That's the reason Chennai today has come out as a shining example and success story of COVID management. As I said, from managing migrants and their problems to battling the positive, increasing number of positive cases and bringing them down, and managing people who are already positive and are in crisis. So yes, it has been a great experience.
Right, sir. Even the most bravest personalities have some kind of fear. What would you say is one thing you feared the most during this pandemic?
The fear of expectations, because as a civic body, there are a lot of expectations on you. What happens is they look up. The citizens of the city look up to you for every possible solution. As I said, at the cost of reputation, migrants we had to deal with. Their problems we had to deal with. There were migrants within the city who were part of the city, who were working here, lost their livelihood. So we needed to reach out to them with basic food and other materials. There were people who were en route to their destinations but were stopped here and had to stay at our relief camps. Around 5,000, 6,000 of them in close to 100 relief centers. They stayed with us for almost 3 to 4 months. And then vulnerable people, particularly physically challenged. Chennai Corporation rolled out the program of giving the relief assistance, government announced relief assistance to all the PWD people in the city. So reaching out to around 25,000 of them across different parts of the city. On top of that, the positive cases to take care of positive people, how to take them to hospitals, screening centers, and then if they are at home isolation or home quarantine, how to take care of them, quarantine management, and then additionally sending back these migrants when trains started off, sending them back, putting them in trains was an equally challenging thing. Chennai Corporation, along with Chennai Police and Railways, could successfully send 1.4 lakh people in 104 trains to different destinations of the country without any hiccup. And then we received people from abroad. That was another challenge Chennai Corporation had to face. There were thousands of people who came from abroad. We had to quarantine them in a hotel for what we call as institution quarantine for 7 days, then send them to their destination. So, as I said, it was not a fear, but there were a lot of expectations around us. We had to step up. We had to reinvent ourselves. We had to do a lot of things which we did not do before, because this is what they call a once in a century pandemic. our regular response mechanisms would not be enough. We need to think out of the box, and that's what we could successfully do. So, if you call fear, it was fear of expectation, but we are happy that we could overcome that fear.
So, as you said, during this pandemic, you had a lot of expectations. What is your source of motivation, and how do you motivate your team during these unprecedented times, considering the general public, the media, and the overall situation?
As you said, we knew that we were under full public glare, from media to common citizens to everyone. The motivation was again public service. Nothing nothing is more motivating than the fact that you could step out and resolve a problem on the street and bring succor and happiness to people who are in distress. So there is no bigger motivation, and that's the mantra that has been adopted from the top levels to the down everyone, from our commissioner to the deputy commissioners, joint commissioners here, towards zonal officials, our engineers, every department. We are close to around 10-15 departments. So everyone were driven by that. Our health officials, city has its own health and medical wings, dedicated wings. So we were all driven by that motivation that yes, this is a pandemic of greater proportions, higher challenges, and we had to meet. And luckily, see, it all depends on the leader who leads. We had a leader in our commissioner sir who stood by us, who took the challenges directly upon himself, and did not ensure that unnecessary pressures or tensions doesn't reach us. He blocked it at his level. He took it upon himself and ensured that we work with complete independence and freedom. I think that was a game changer.
During this pandemic, the corporation officials played a major role in enforcing COVID 19 restrictions. What was the most difficult situation you've encountered, and how did you handle it?
There are many restrictions that have been mandated by Government of India as well as Government of Tamil Nadu. And we'll have to understand that these restrictions were new to this country. Wearing a mask, probably none of us ever did in our lives before this. So, ensuring people wear masks was the first challenge, because we were all alien to the concept of wearing a mask, unlike some Oriental nations. So that was the first challenge. Making people stay indoors was the second challenge, because we are not used. I mean, Indians, we love going around a lot. That was the second challenge. Third challenge was making people understand the concept of institutional quarantine, particularly travelers. These were already people who were coming back to our country, in a distressed condition from abroad, wanting to meet their parents. There were cases where they lost their dear ones, had to come here, making them stay in the institutional quarantine and make them stay there for their safety and for everyone's safety. So these were the kind of challenges we faced when we were putting restrictions. But honestly, the credit, the entire credit will have to give to the society. The way the city responded, the way this city, have risen up to the occasion. We did not find any major law and order issues. People did not come onto the streets, violating certain things and all. We had a very peaceful situation thanks to cooperation from the public.
We recently read in an article about the implementation of focus volunteers to take care of COVID 19 patients. How significant of an impact do you think focus volunteers have had on COVID 19 citizens in Chennai?
Among several initiatives that Chennai Corporation did, we take pride in the fact of implementing focus volunteers. This was a brainchild of our commissioner, sir. The entire volunteer system. We had various kind of volunteers. To begin with, in the early stages of pandemic, we had volunteers, what we called as door-to-door volunteers, who would come to every house armed with a book, with a thermal scanner, to check upon every family and their members of the family as to if there are any problems there, if someone has some symptoms and all. We have put in place different kind of volunteers because the pandemic threw up various challenges. One, door-to-door surveyors who visited every house every day to check upon people, and from there again volunteers who would go to slums, downtrodden, vulnerable locations to take care of the people there. Focus volunteers, as I told you, was a brainchild of our commissioner, and we implemented it with great vigor. The idea was the focus stands for friend of COVID person under surveillance. As the pandemic started evolving, we realized that more and more people started living in their houses. I mean, getting isolated in their houses. Hospitalization was not recommended for everyone, unlike in the beginning stages. So we reached a point where more people started staying at their homes because they were all asymptomatic. They don't require a bed at hospital. See, if someone is isolated at a home, quarantined at a home, the entire family members of that home cannot come out because they risk a chance of spreading it. The challenge is to make the people stay at home for 7 days while ensuring all their basic needs are taken care of. It was this challenge which has given rise to Focus Volunteer. We have brought on board the local boys and girls, boys and girls who would reside in that location, who would know that location particularly well. We turned them into volunteers. At its peak, we had close to around 3,000 volunteers across the city who would meet every day at 7:30 for a roll call, armed with a book, and later we developed a dedicated app for that. These boys and girls will be given the list of people whom they'll have to go and meet. I mean, the homes that they have to visit. So they will take the list, go to those homes, visit them, call them probably from a distance, maintaining social distance, and understand their nature. These boys and girls have done a terrific job. I mean, from supplying medicines to groceries to there were times when they supplied even water from the nearest water pump to their houses. So they did every job. They were like, that's the reason we call them a friend. And the kind of response that we got from people was immense. I mean, many people got emotional about it because for many people, for elderlies and all, this boy or girl was the only hope at that point of time. So Focus Volunteers, I mean, the program ended just 2 days ago. When we look back with a lot of satisfaction, pride. It helped so many people in the city.
Technological advancements have become a growing aspect in our society. Have you implemented any new technologies to monitor COVID 19 patients and prevent the spread of it?
In fact, another thing we relied heavily upon was technology. See, there are two things that matters in governance. One, the regular governance structures in place. That's I mean, there is a hierarchy, there is a clear chain of command and all. And second, any successful intervention, along with strengthening your existing governance structures, you will have to bring in technology. Technology is speed. Technology is creative. Technology will reach to everyone. It reaches every nook and corner. Moreover, it's transparent and accountable. So any good governance mechanism needs aid of technology. So that's what we did here in Chennai. Technology has been developed in various ways. One, we had a dedicated portal. See, 10 cases, 15 cases will not be a problem. But when we reach a stage where we had 500 cases, 600 cases, the first challenge is to send those details to the field to enable our field health officials to go to that particular home and pick that person for screening and take them to the nearest hospital. See, 10s or 20s you can call over a phone and tell, but find it, how do you do it? 1,000, how do you do it? 1,500, how do you do it? We had a peak of 2,300 cases. So that's when our the then Joint Commissioner of Health and Commissioner Sir decided to develop a portal. This portal, the beauty is all the positive cases will be fed into the portal the night before, and we have a street register based on the address. The portal itself would segregate them into various divisions, various administrative divisions. So in the morning, the portal would send the list of cases in a particular division to that particular health official. So it's pretty automated. So by no time, this guy would have the list of the people who are positive in this location. He'll directly go there with them. And we employ technology for a app called VidMed. This is a video medical counseling. People who are positive, we had a video counseling sessions with them. We had a Portia call center, dedicated call center, which we use for contact tracing with a huge manpower setup. And as I said, for Focus Volunteers, we had HQMS app, Home Quarantine and Isolation Management System app, where our volunteers would use the app to tell us, and we will understand where we stand, what are the various needs in the city. So technology was used to its head, and I mean, thanks to the various social media platforms that we have, and I should not forget the stellar role performed by social media wing of Greater Chennai Corporation. Probably one civic body whose social media has received so many accolades. We have a dedicated Twitter account whose followers are more than 1 lakh and above. we have dedicated Instagram, we have dedicated WhatsApp. So all our messages, all our important communication was through this, because today there is no one who doesn't use, most of us use Twitters, most of us use WhatsApps and all. So we used it to the fullest. And our entire, we did what we called as another innovative thing that we did was fever clinics. We conducted neighborhood fever clinic because most of the hospitals were closed. So people did not know where to go if they had symptoms. So we conducted fever clinics, and all the advanced tour program of fever clinics were put on Twitter and our Instagram the day before. So in one word, technology was the main platform with which we fought COVID.
In the past few months, there have been continuous festivals, for example, Diwali, then Christmas, then New Year, then Pongal. How do you tackle these types of situations where it might become difficult to handle the people?
These festivals also coincided with a period when the COVID cases was slowing down. So we had a challenge to ensure that there is no, further increase, or what people generally call second wave, right? Another peak. And all. It was a challenge, but we knew that our protocols were very well in place, particularly in commercial establishments where people would throng to do festival shopping and all. In fact, we had to use both carrot and stick policy. There were instances where we had to shut down some shops because there were too many people. There was too much of crowding. Big establishments had to be shut down, and we sent a message to everyone saying that if you violate, we will have to take action. And we did a lot of IEC activities. For example, if you see Ranganathan Street and all, where thousands of people go on a daily basis, we did a lot of IEC activities. Stressing upon the need of wearing a mask and sanitizing. We can't stop people from coming onto the streets once relaxations are gone, but at the same time, we ensured people wear masks and come onto the streets. Luckily, thanks to cooperation from the public and our own interventions, we did not see any such spurt in cases after these festivals.
During the pandemic, we have seen many officers put in their best effort to ensure the safety of the citizens. But what measures have been taken to ensure the safety of the officers who are on the field interacting with so many people?
I mean, being frontline staff, we were all in the risk of contracting COVID. But at the same time, our protocols were very clear. Uh, Mask wearing, sanitation was a must at all the offices. Whatever, from Ripon building to the field units, we had regular sanitation. We distributed masks in large number. We ensured that sanitizers are available at every nook and corner at every office, because corporation would mean that every staff is exposed to outside. Either they're on the field or they'll get visitors, so it's a huge exposure. But as I said, our protocols were very clear, and from top level to the last person, we implemented the protocols with the same vigor, particularly for our frontline workers like our conservancy staff who would go every day, clean the streets, garbage and all. It's extremely important for us to take care of them. So we ensure that they get all necessary protective gear. I mean, it could be from mask. We supplied mask in good number. In fact, when herbal concoction like Kubasur Kudinir and all, we implemented for almost 3 to 4 months. We prepared it at our Amma Unagavams and ensured that all our staff take the herbal concoction, all vitamin tablets and all. So we ensured that our staff are taken care of to that extent.
Can you share some of the strategies that were implemented to prioritize public safety?
Strategies would mean, one, we knew the importance of protocols set by the government. Every fortnight and every month, government came up with its own set of protocols. So our focus was on implementing it, because these were the protocols which were delved upon deeply, which were discussed at the highest level scientifically and proven to be the right measures. So Chennai Corporation's idea and goal was to ensure that these protocols are well in place. So this was our first strategy. And then second strategy was, as I said, IEC. We did a massive IEC campaign because this is more about behavior, and behavioral change doesn't happen overnight. We need to tell people its importance through various media, and we used it to the hilt. And third strategy was our proactive response mechanisms. It could be from taking care of people with symptoms or people with positive corona symptoms, all kinds of people. So these were various strategies.
Even after some really important and effective strategies, there are people who don't believe in the authorities and criticize their actions for or certain measures you've taken. How do you handle that?
Beyond a point, we don't worry about criticism. We never bothered about criticism because we are not here to. We have not made a movie where we worry about critics. We are in public service. We know very well that criticism would be part and parcel of public service. Uh, and another point is we don't worry about criticism in the sense it's not that we don't care about it. We know that anything that we do, seven people would praise and three people would criticize. We took that criticism in the right stride. We saw if there were any valid points in it, and then we took those valid points and moved forward. See, end of the day, if someone criticizes, they would criticize for the larger good. Except few people, probably if we implement something, they would come up and say, no, you should be doing it in a particular way. So if we find that their suggestions were relevant, we would take it. So in fact, in public service, criticism is good. It helps us to be on our toes. It helps us to better prepare ourselves. There was some criticism which was uncalled for, but we never bothered beyond a point because the satisfaction we derived from our results was far bigger than the criticism that few people would spread.
You're filled with an endless responsibilities and duties. How do you find the time to prioritize your physical health and mental health?
Physical health, yeah, took a beating because we had long hours. All of us, here. There was an incident probably for straight 80 or 85 days. We did not take a single break, including Saturday, Sundays. Everyone here. I remember I joined on April 4th. The first break I took probably was when I got COVID. So, I mean, from everyone, not just my case, everyone here. I mean, from commissioner, every entire staff. But as I said, in public service, there is an undefined thrill that you get when you do certain things. Probably public praise, lot of initiatives that we did on Twitter, on social media, and directly. Many people who meet us would come and praise our actions and speak good things about our work. That itself is the biggest motivation, as I said. Probably that took care of our physical health and mental health part. But yes, I mean I should say that for a prolonged period it should not come at the cost of your own physical health. But whenever we got time, we ensured that we are physically active. And since the work was anyways required us to walk a lot and then go around a lot, so it took my part. Mental health at a personal level, I listen to a lot of music whenever I could find time. I caught up on a lot of movies on OTT platforms. I mean, you have a family, who is your biggest stress buster. You have kids, who will make you forget the, days, hard work. You have friends who will be there as a support system. So it's a mix of everything. I always believe that any, successful, person in any public sphere or private sphere, it's combination of these factors.
There would be many experiences where you've seen your officers do some astonishing work. Could you share something in particular that is close to your heart?
See, as a team, we have done a lot. I mean, there are lots of good work that we could do over the last many months. There are many such stories, heartwarming stories, which made us feel real good about what we do. Implementing focus volunteers was one of our was a great experience. I mean, the kind of feedback we got from various people. So that was one thing. The way we dealt with migrants, the kind of steps we took to take care of migrants. We ensured that commissioners are ensured that at all the 100 relief centers there was a TV, because these are people who are made to stay there for no fault of theirs. So they needed entertainment. So we gave them TVs at all the relief centers. We conducted yoga sessions. We conducted wellness sessions. So, and when they were leaving the city, we gave them what we call as happy kit, containing a lot of provisions in the kit, so that when they go home to their native places, their family would be looking forward, that they'll bring something. So we included some chocolates and goodies in it. So that was another high point. The way we managed such a big migrant crowd and successfully and happily sent them back to their native places in trains. And there were instances where we walked that extra mile to ensure that many of them feel safe. And for example, there were instances when in a particular train, we found only 2 or 3 girls were willing to go back to Bengal in the train, and the rest of it were men. It's not that men are bad, but still we wanted that these girls should feel comfortable in their journey all through. So we ensured we got in touch with other districts, ensured that there were few more girls and a group of girls 10 or 20 of them. So we made them come, we sent our own vehicles to bring them here and put them in a train and send them back home. We could reach out to many people who were suffering, who came here for treatment, put them on a priority and send them home. And our door-to-door surveys, the way we reached out to many positive people, the way we took care of them, the way we took care of our people coming from abroad. In fact, Chennai is another fantastic success story. Unlike many cities, it's a real cakewalk. I mean, you come in a flight, just reach the exit, you'll be taken a test, and then you'll have a choice of 3 places to go: free accommodation, paid accommodation, 2 varieties in it. Depending on your choice and willingness, you can take that. We hide our own buses, and then we take them to the hotels, put them there, send them back home. And again, the way the fever clinics were biggest satisfaction. Lakhs of people came to our fever clinics and got themselves tested and checked. So it's multifaceted response. So almost I can say that everything that we implemented, we had a high point. There was, without exaggeration, I can say there was never an intervention where we failed, where we look back and say we could have implemented. Probably we could have implemented it a bit better, which we did over the course of time, but there was never an intervention where we failed. And there was never an intervention where we were found wanting. So it was, overall a comprehensive way we did it. So we are very happy about it.
Sir, is there any special message you want to share with the people?
Message, one of the biggest lessons that we have learned could be our message. I mean, the way we worked on the pandemic, the way we came out of it, and almost came out of it. One of the biggest lessons that we have learned is whatever we achieve in society, particularly from a public governance perspective, it's all a partnership and collaborating one. Government will have to play its role, civic bodies, government like us will have to play its role. Then you have private organizations, community organizations, NGOs will have to play, which will have to play a great role. And then society at large. In fact, the kind of success that Chennai could achieve was because all of us came together, there was a seamless collaboration, and we understood each other's concerns and then worked together. In fact, one of the things that I mentioned in the interview was also the way the stellar role played by NGOs. They have been everywhere along with us. They walked the entire distance along with us, from reaching out to migrants to people who were in requirement of ration kits in the city, across various parts of the city, then taking care of migrants, as I said, putting them in the trains, conducting a call center to reach out to those thousands of people in distress, to our slums where these NGOs and community organizations went and took care of the slum people. So that's one part. And then the way people also cooperated with us, people also understood the kind of restrictions we impose. So in one word, the lesson has been that if you have to succeed, it will have to be a teamwork, taking everyone on board. Only when you take every stakeholder on board, you'll be able to achieve the optimal results.
Thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thank you so
It's a
much.
pleasure to have this interview.
Thank you so much for having me for this interview.
As a token of appreciation, we prepared a small gift for you. It's for you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Such a pleasure.